serves, but one similarity, Jimmy, is the fact that these two guys both have monster serves. We know about the Isner serve, but the Almagro serve doesn't get talked about that much, but it's right up there.
Well, his semifinal opponent said the reason he serves big in miles per hour. He's got a nasty kick serve as well. He's not the tallest guy, so you wouldn't expect him to have such a big serve. But Ryan Williams, his semifinal opponent, said the reason it's so tough is it's such a quick motion that you can't read it. Its toss is in the same place every time, and it throws off your rhythm as a returner a little bit. So there's no question over the years he's always sort of right around top 5 in most aces year after year.
Well, if we told you that the tour ace leader was in this match, it would come as no surprise to you, but it's not that guy. It's the other guy. 261 aces for Nico.
Well, Isner's going to catch up by the end of the year, provided he's winning matches. So he's got a big lead in this tournament so far in the ace category over Almagro. Almagro's played one less match and far less sets.
The players there greeting a woman by the name of Jeannie Camrath Gonzalez, who is 100 years old and was just inducted into the Texas Tennis Hall of Fame. She was introduced by former Secretary of State James Baker, who's here today. She used to teach the secretary tennis back in the day.
And she also played here at a tournament here at River Oaks when they had women's tournaments as well.
So a nice moment for Mrs. Gonzalez, and nice of the secretary to be here. And of course, all the big hub of Reagan Bush people in Houston. President Bush, the elder, has a home not far from here in the River Oaks neighborhood.
And he loved tennis. He does still love tennis. So I'm surprised that he hasn't come out very often.
This is the setting. If you're just joining us for the first time here at River Oaks, it is truly one of the quaint and picturesque venues in professional tennis. About 3,500 seats on this old-style stadium court, not completely dissimilar from what you see at the Hall of Fame in Newport. And the players love it, the fans love it. Not a bad seat in the house. Let's show you the draw from here in Houston this week. 28 draw, 4 buys for the top seeds, which is bad luck for John Isner. He just missed the last buy.
And he did, but he needed match play, so maybe for him in some ways it was good that he's gotten an extra match. He had a nice quarterfinal draw with Ricardas Barrancas, then a huge win for him against Juan Monaco. Monaco was playing pretty well, and Isner able to come back from a devastating first set loss. He plays Nicholas Almagro, now the top seed, whose toughest match was his first match against Gael Monfils. He lost the first set in the second round, his first match.
And then he rolled quarterfinals over Lorenzi in that 2-1 thumping of the wild card Ryan Williams yesterday. Almagro, we mentioned, now playing in his 19th ATP World Tour final, all 19 of them on the clay.
Like I said, that he's not a horrible hardcourt player. I know he's known for it being a clay courter, as a lot of the Spaniards are, but he did reach quarterfinals in Australia this year and really served for the match 3 times against David Ferrer to make a semifinal on a hardcourt Grand Slam. He does have weapons, so there's no reason why he shouldn't do reasonably well on the faster courts.
He made the quarterfinals last year on the hard courts at Indian Wells, and when he beat Tomas Berdych there last year, it was his first top 10 win ever on hard courts. So he is a good hard court player and getting better. Sticky conditions here on Championship Sunday for our final match. John Isner and Nicholas Almagro getting through their warm-ups. Brett Haber and Jimmy Arias with you from River Oaks Country Club. Jimmy, sticky conditions, maybe not what John Isner was hoping for.
Definitely not what he wants, and it's just become sticky in the last 15 or 20 minutes. The sun came out. It's back down behind the clouds now, but look, he's a guy that tends to get tired in long, tough, hot conditions, and against Almagro, that will definitely be the case if it does stay warm.
Here's the file on Big John, 6'10". He's got himself down to 238 pounds, fitter than he was when he first came out of Georgia. This will be his 13th career final, looking for his 6th title. And a better player on clay than you might have imagined a couple of years ago.
Well, he had some fantastic wins last year in Davis Cup, especially Tsonga, Simone, Roger Federer, to name 3 of his better clay court wins. And he went 5 sets with Nadal at Roland Garros. Nobody goes 5 sets with Nadal at Roland Garros. So all signs point that he can be dangerous on this surface. And you get a look at his road to the final. He had a dangerous second round match against the young American Jack Sock, tie break in the final set. He has lost final set tie breaks at this tournament a number of times, so that was big for him to get through that match. And then I was impressed with the way he bounced back from a tough first set against Juan Monaco, lost it 6-1, looked to be in all kinds of trouble, and he changed his game. Quit serving just 140 miles an hour, started using the kick serve, started serving and volleying some, and it all worked out.
We had some unofficial research, and we think that's the first time that John Isner has had his serve broken 3 consecutive times in a match on the ATP World Tour. We're still trying to finalize that research. It's certainly the first 6-1 set that he's lost since last year at Indian Wells. So a shocking start, but a very positive finish. And there's Almagro, so comfortable on this red stuff. He will hop a flight, as John will, right after this match to Monte Carlo to get the European clay court season underway. But he's got work to do here first.
Both players are 27 years old. He's 6 feet tall, Nicolas Almagro, and he was 9 in the world in 2011. I think he was on his way to a great year this year, and he's lost some heartbreaking matches early in the year. And most importantly, most of note was David Ferrer in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. He'd never been to the semifinal of a Grand Slam, and he'd never beaten David Ferrer. He was trying to overcome those things. He had so many chances to win that match. It got a little tight.
I called that match in Melbourne. He led 2 sets to love, served for the match 3 times in the 3rd and 4th set, and you could just see him emotionally and mentally breaking down. And here's his road. You mentioned the tough one against Monfils at the beginning. Hopefully Gael Monfils is on the comeback trail, because he's an entertaining guy to watch when he's healthy.
Certainly is. And then a comfortable match in the quarters for Almagro against Lorenzi. And then he said, I'm finally playing my tennis the way he played in the semifinals. He felt, Almagro, that he was moving better and showing the crowd here just the way he can play when he's at his best. I don't think he felt great in his first 2 matches.
So getting some final serves in, these two. It'll be their 3rd career meeting. Both of the previous matchups in favor of Almagro. One on clay last year at Davis Cup and one on grass at Wimbledon.
What's funny is Isner, I think he's a better clay court than a grass court player. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's the case. The ball on grass bounces too low for him. He wants it bouncing up in his strike zone. And Almagro, you can see, at home in Spain in Davis Cup with the whole crowd on his side, barely squeaked out a 5-set win against Isner. Isner has some shots that are going to cause Almagro some problems today. Most of all, that serve.
That's Damian Steiner, our chair umpire today. That was a heartbreaking loss in Davis Cup last fall in Gijón, as the U.S. made that improbable run to the semifinals, thanks in large part to Isner beating Federer and Wawrinka in the first round in Fribourg in Switzerland on clay. Then, as you mentioned, knocking out Tsonga and Simone in Monte Carlo on French soil, but could not handle Almagro in Spain on clay. Very, very few people beat Spain in Spain on clay.
It doesn't happen. Well, Almagro in the back of the court tying his shoes, and I think he's going to have to run an awful lot today, because he's going to start these points off from so far back. He's going to need those shoes.
Isner begins. Standing 1 foot in front of the fence, he got handcuffed.
Yeah, that's amazing. On a second serve.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's a 106-mile-an-hour serve. You'd think he'd be able to get around it a little more quickly from that far back. this is Isner when he's at his best. This is what he likes to see. Big serve, gets the short mid-court ball, and he hits that forehand. He gets a lot of practice with that shot. Sees it often. Handles it as well as anybody.
Very positive start for John, much better than yesterday. And maybe Nico needs some time to wake up, because once again, within 40 minutes before the match, he was snoozing in the locker room.
Didn't hurt him yesterday, but off to a sluggish start in the first game today.
Not only sleeping, comatose with pillows piled on top of him on the sofa, with all kinds of hustle and bustle going on around him. I have no idea how he does that. Long tradition of Americans in the final here in Houston, continuing with John this year.
What's funny is the Americans would have been favored in most of those finals that we're showing you, other than Ryan Sweeting, the one who won.
The only time in the last 12 years that there wasn't an American in the final was 2007. That was the year that Ivo Karlovic beat Mariano Zabaleta, and we would be remiss without saying that you extended that tradition 3 different occasions. Jimmy Arias, the clay court champion in 1983, when you beat
Andres Gomez. And there'd been a while since an American had won that year that I won it. It had been a bit of a drought. I guess not that long of a drought, but they were complaining that Jimmy Connors had always been winning, and then it had been a few years of Argentines.
Jimmy, we won't mention the 88 final loss to Andre Agassi, the 82 loss to Jose Higueras, and the 91 loss to Jaime Izaga. Boy, that's a long stretch of making the final here.
Yeah, that's pretty much the start and end.
So a couple of comfortable holds as both guys get their arms loose and adjust to the sweltering conditions here in Houston. Some of the Yanks who have won this title, you're in pretty elite company.
Yeah, I'm happy they put my picture up with the rest of these guys. These are great champions.
Mats Wilander was also on that chart. He's the one guy who wasn't an American. And you beat him here at River Oaks, but not in the U.S. Clay Court Championships, because they had the River Oaks Invitational for many years here.
Yeah, this was the only time I ever beat him was at this club.
What do you think of that play?
Wear me out.
What do you think of that play from John with Nico pinned back as deep as he is?
I understand why he's going to have to do that some. He's got to. If Nico can stay so far behind and run down enough balls, that's going to be a problem for Isner. So he's got to keep him honest, maybe have him feel as though the drop shot could come. That's one where you could see Isner was struggling from the moment the lob went up. He was not in position. It was sort of floating, and he was not moving his feet back quickly enough. He almost should have let that bounce at that point. He's trying to blame the sun, but it's not really out at the moment.
First backhand volley from Isner was quite something. The second one he couldn't produce.
Second one was almost easier. I think he was surprised Almagro didn't do more with the second pass. He had plenty of time to go anywhere, and he sort of just rolled it right back to Isner. A couple of break points right away, and the sun is slightly out, and this is the side yesterday in the first set especially, similar time to this, that Isner was struggling to hold serve. Got to use the wide serves today against Almagro. You see how effective it is. Almagro is so far back. He hits the ball short on the return from that far back, it seems. So it gives Isner an opportunity. Wide kick serve, big forehand in the open court. Sun is fully out now.
So 2 break points erased by John, and with the ace on the previous point, that's ace number 59 in this tournament for John, and that's now just 1 shy of the all-time tournament record here in Houston, held by Pete Sampras, set in 2002. So 1 more, John will tie that record. 2 more, he'll own it outright.
Service.
You can see that the trouble that Isner has is when the points start on even terms. It's difficult for him to find a way to hit through Almagro. Almagro's so far back, moving well, but can still generate pace from back there. He's got to get the upper hand right behind the serve, and a decided upper hand. He's going to have to bring in some serve and volley like he did yesterday occasionally.
So effective serving and volleying on that second serve yesterday. He created a playbook for himself on how to beat a guy like this. And double faults away the break, and so as hard as breaks of serve are to come by when you're playing John Isner, there were 3 yesterday and 1 early today.
Well, there goes the first set for Isner. Not quite that quickly, but that was a strange game. He missed an overhead, dumped a fairly easy volley, threw in a double fault. He gave the game away for the most part.
And, you know, a 250 level event, Jimmy, is, you know, a far cry from a Grand Slam. It's a far cry from Indian Wells in Miami, where we were a couple weeks ago. But you're talking about a guy in Almagro who's won 12 titles, a guy in Isner who's won 5 titles. You know, titles are titles. That's a big deal. This is a big day.
Absolutely, for both guys. And it, you know, in some ways, even more so for me, for Isner, just because he needs that confidence.
Time. Sit quickly, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you.
Early break deficit for John Isner is he kind of donated a break of serve there.
Double faulted on break point, missed an overhead that you don't normally see him missing. Had a fairly comfortable backhand volley. So yes, that was a bit of a gift. Now Almagro is not as good a returner as Juan Monaco, who Isner beat yesterday, but he is a better server, a decidedly better server. So one break against Monaco, maybe you feel you have a chance to get it back. A little more difficult for Isner to get it back against this guy.
And no, it's not a fluke that he's your tour ace leader, 10 more than Isner starting this match. Last year, 654 aces. That was good for 5th on tour across the entire season.
And remember, he's doing it on, for the most part, clay. He's winning, playing the majority of his matches on a slower clay court. So it gives you an idea that that serve is a real weapon. You've just seen it the last 2 points.
Left service.
It's an overrule from Damian Steiner.
30.
Too bad for Isner because he has waiting on the return and actually hit the return fairly well. That's brilliant stuff from Isner. He's got to learn from that point, and that if he hits the ball with some height to the backhand side, Almagro will back up. He was on top of the baseline for that point when it started, Almagro. One high ball sent him far behind the baseline, and then Isner was able to find an opening in the court. That's a big serve.
It's not just the ace category where Almagro is effective. 7th on tour last year in first serve points won. 9th on tour last year in second serve points won. So Almagro consolidates the break and gets it to 3-1, using that serve to his advantage across the whole year and across this tournament. And there you go.
This is a return a serve graphic we're showing you. And for the season, he hasn't returned all that well. 29% of the points he's winning on returns. But this week, 41%. He had a great match returning against Ryan Williams. That would be the case when you win 2-1.
And his serve numbers this week are great as well. He's leading the tournament in second serve points, 160%. And he's held serve now 28 out of 32 times.
It just seems to me that if you're Isner, you've got to be able to take advantage of a guy that's returning serve. Literally, our cameraman is in range. He's so far behind the court. It's just, you've got to have some openings in that situation. Keep going wide till you force him forward a little bit. Then you can go with the bigger serve down the tee, and don't even bother with 140 down the tee till you've forced him to come forward.
And again, he handcuffs Almagro with a body serve, second serve up against the fence. But Jimmy, what you're suggesting John do, while it makes a ton of sense, when you've got that gun in the holster that he has, it's hard for John to leave it in the holster.
You know, it's hard for me to imagine. There's no 140 that I was ever bringing. So if I had a 140 mile an hour serve, you're right. I'd probably think I'm just going to go with that one. But that's the serve right there. 111, but almost in the seats. And it went for an ace. It was hit so wide.
And that is the one that ties the record. That's the 60th. So now even with Pete Sampras for most aces ever fired in this tournament.
I suppose if I'm going for the record, I'd go 140 on this one.
128 anyway. Almagro slaps a wild forehand long, and so Isner holds for 2-3, down a break, but just one break. 60 aces for Big John in this tournament.
Time. Sit quickly, please. Thank you.
Early lead for the top seed Nicholas Almagro in this Houston final, taking on John Isner. Now Almagro serving up 3-2 near court. The other play we saw yesterday from Isner against Monaco was running around that backhand return, especially in the deuce court.
It's going to be a little tougher. You can see how Almagro's second serve has a little more action on it, so it won't be quite as easy for Isner to get around that second serve.
And the reason we like that play better in the deuce court is
sends him right into the center of the court. Having said they the pressure of just making the move to run around caused Almagro to hit a double fault. And here's a slight opening for Isner.
Well, Almagro handling prosperity has been an issue in his career over the last 6 months. You mentioned the match in Australia where he led 2 sets to love and served forward 3 times against Ferrer for his first slam semifinal. There have been a few examples of that.
But you know what? He's accustomed to winning titles as well. So you would think that, you know, as a top seed here on clay, I don't think he's going to let the moment get in his way if he has the opportunity. One play that Isner can use today, we're seeing it already, is not just going with pure power, but height. It backs Almagro up. One thing about one-handers is, for the most part, a one-handed backhand isn't as happy when it's up above their shoulder. Takes a little bit of strength. Huge serve, 133 on the line.
3 aces for each man now.
He's staying far behind the baseline and retrieving, hitting loopers. And outsteadies Almagro.
Well, that's what you suggested, is that he needs to not just use 2 dimensions of the court, but use 3 dimensions. Use the vertical aspect of it to get some height on his balls and push him back.
No question, especially against that one-handed backhand. And Almagro looks happy to back up when he gets that high ball. So that allows Isner the chance to step in. That was a huge game for him to get the break back.
And we see what happens with John when the confidence starts to flow a little bit. The attitude changes, the posture, the gait, and he can roll.
Much less exhausted, it seems, once he starts rolling. Uh-oh, starting to look up at the sky again. This is the side that he's struggled on.
Well, the wind is gusting a little bit now in his face.
I think Almagro might be thinking to himself, you know what, I've been fairly tentative. I've been happy just to put the ground strokes in. He's a guy, Almagro, that has weapons from the back of the court. And he hasn't used them so far today against Isner. He's sort of playing a, I'm going to hope the big man misses strategy.
How much more complicated is it for Almagro with the one hand on the backhand to deal with the extreme angles and the pace?
It's actually the height that makes it more difficult. You have to be so strong to get that ball, a kicking serve over your head down into the court with anything on it. Isner can't seem to serve on the side of the court he's on right now. He continues to look up at the sky. His toss obviously has to be just a little different. That play is open to him.
Yeah.
He's just got to recognize it and use it. Don't bother with the big serve until Almagro proves he can take that away from him.
Now, this is a geometry equation that's not going to work for Almagro. The angles that it comes from, that one-handed backhand, the space in the court, it's a losing proposition for him.
Isner can dictate where you have to end up returning from. If he should just recognize, okay, my opponent's far back, this one's going wide. Okay, now he's cutting that off. He stepped in. This one can go 140.
Just a savvy game of tennis from John Isner from a serving perspective. And with that drop shot, seeing Almagro pin deep, and he recovers the break and leads 4-3. Look at the Isner serve.
What's funny is I think it feels as though on that side of the court, the rhythm's a little bit different on his serve. I don't know if he's tossing it a little lower, but it's quicker motion. But boy, that was as you can see, he wasn't sure when he hit that drop shot whether it was clearing the net, but it turned out to be perfect.
You know, maybe the fact that that's the side, where whether it's the sun or the wind or whatever is bothering him over there, is forcing him to be a little more conservative, at least in his mind, conservative, less pace.
Right.
And maybe that's actually a benefit to him.
It could be, yeah. As he saw, he's got to recognize that the wide serve is going to be very effective for him all day.
Time. Next quickly, please. Thank you.
Back in Houston, John Isner recovers the break deficit. Now leads 4-3. Almagro here with his coach, Sam Lopez. They've been together since January of last year, part of the Juan Carlos Ferrero Equilite Tennis Academy. Ferrero himself has been doing some traveling with Almagro on the road.
15 on.
Pretty good guy to have on your bag. And Ferrero, a former, did he make #1 in the world?
Not sure. I know he obviously won the French 03.
Finals of the U.S. Open that year as well.
He had been with Martin Gonzalez for a decade, then switched to Jose Perles out of Barcelona. Now with the Ferrero's group. Isner, just all kinds of variety right now.
He's looking like a true clay courter. From the back of the court, he's winning rallies consistently now against Almagro. He has found a pattern that works, and that is hit the ball up high, back him up, and then start attacking.
Big man tennis, and not only the break retrieved, but now a break advantage. And John Isner will serve for the set.
Isner leads 5 games to 3.
We talk about big man tennis with him. We're seeing it.
Look, he's playing some brilliant stuff. I love the way he's playing from the back of the court. There's variety going on. It's not just big man tennis. Yeah. He's actually showing variety today.
But he also seems to have a better handle right now on what a green light ball is and when to go ahead and whack one.
It looks as though he's relying on his movement, some defense. He's not afraid to play defense a couple of shots until he gets something that he likes the look of.
And this thing is the constant. And I mean, when he played so well beginning of last year on the clay, we all came to realize, look, the guy's going to hold serve on clay, on grass, on hard, on the moon. But this stuff gives him a little more time to return. And here comes set point for Big John.
You know how I'm always calling for 100, not doing the 140-mile-an-hour serve, hitting the kicker out wide. 40 love. Go ahead and
fire it up.
Throw, yeah.
Oh.
143 on that one, but it was a let.
Also, with the scoreboard like this, reminds Almagro that it's still an option.
Oh. It was a 153 return from Almagro, but didn't find the court.
What a complete momentum shift over the last 12 minutes as Isner goes from a breakdown to a 6-3 first set win. Wow, Jimmy Arias.
Pretty impressive that Isner, I tell you, he learned something. There was a switch that was made in his brain yesterday against Monaco, a guy that returns his serve awfully well. He had to figure out a way to win points. And all of a sudden today, he's figured it out against Almagro. When you look at the matchup, you understand why Isner can give Almagro trouble. Almagro is playing so far back, but he's not an elite speed guy. He's a guy that controls points most of the time when he's playing. When he's playing other clay quarters, he's hitting big serves and moving them around. And he's come into this match, Almagro, in a defensive posture. It's not his best game.
I think this is John's formula. I mean, I know the pace is great, but we saw Monaco yesterday. No problem with 145 miles an hour getting that back. The strings are such, the racket technology is such, the athletes are such that they get that stuff back, but the jump, I mean, you can't build a racket that's going to make you 11 feet tall. I guess you could.
Tough to control. It's that far away from your hand, you're in trouble.
Talk about extended handle. I think you may be witnessing John Isner find things gelling in his head now, and maybe this is the turning point we've been looking for.
What's funny, yesterday he mentioned how his kick serve works well on clay, and to me, he's got to recognize that it works well on anything.
Yeah.
And that, one of the reasons he's playing well in clay is he's using it more often. 140-mile-an-hour serve is great to have, I would assume, but today's players can stand back and still put it back in play.
There's John's girlfriend, Maddie McKinley. John's coach, Mike Sell, not here this week. He's traveling with his physio, Clint Cordial, and with Maddie. And he's staying right here on the grounds of the club. I mean, those little shots, that slice defensive reset the point, that he didn't used to have that.
He might not have had that 3 days ago, it seems to me. All of a sudden, he's playing some great defensive tennis, and Almagro did, to me, made a little adjustment in the first point in that he's been playing defensively from the back of the court, trying to just get the ball in play. And I think he's made the decision, I've got to control the baseline points. Tried to there, and Isner defended well.
15 on.
We mentioned John staying with a family in a private home right here on the golf course at River Oaks Country Club. He's got to walk to work. No tournament car necessary, just a couple 100 yards.
Yeah, Almagro, before the matches, we've seen him sleeping in the players' lounge. Isner has yet to make an appearance anywhere. He just comes from his house down to the court.
And apparently that's the house that Leighton Hewitt used to stay in when he played this tournament every year. And one year Hewitt didn't come. Isner took over the house that Hewitt had been in, and he's kept it ever since. And, you know,
Hewitt was back this year, but he's aced out of that house. That was a more aggressive Almagro to start the second set. Went for the second serve there. Started hitting the ground strokes with a little more power.
No.
Isner trying to become just the fourth active American to win a clay court title. The three who have him right now are Marty Fish, who won this tournament in 2006, Ryan Sweeting, who won here in 2011, and Sam Querrey, who won in Belgrade on the clay, tournament that doesn't exist anymore.
$15.
At some point, you know, Almagro's going to have to change. He's going to have to try to catch that ball on the return before it gets so high up over his head.
That has been the formula of guys who have, you know, pushed Isner, have given him different looks.
Yeah.
Too good. We saw Ricardus Berankis in the quarterfinals kind of alternate between towing the baseline on the Isner serve and then fading back to the fence. It seemed a
little tougher to do as a one-hander.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't be that big with that soft a set of hands.
He's shown some nice touch. Isner has a number of times. This one was a play I like, and Almagro made a good return as well as he could. There's no answer for that combination when you're starting the point from that far back if Isner can continue to show that kind of feel.
A little tangled up in his size 15 shoes there.
40-30.
Almagro's return. He's actually had 3 returns that he hit solidly pretty deep and gotten to even terms right off the bat. The one game that Isner was broken in the first set, it was a bit of a donation. Missed overhead, a double fault, missed a volley. This is the first time Almagro's actually been able to get his racket on the return and hit it with enough on it that he's not in absolute trouble.
Yards that he's been putting in paying a dividend
for Isner.
Yeah.
But he's able to stay on a point like that. That was another good return from Almagro where Isner had to start the point backing up on his own serve and still able to outduel Almagro in a baseline rally is showing some improvement for Isner.
Don't forget, John had just entered the top 10 when he arrived here in Houston a year ago, got it up to number 9. And the decline started after the summer. His window isn't that large. I mean, he went to 4 years of college, which was a good move for him, but it meant he didn't become a full-time pro until he was 22 years old. He's now about to turn 28 in 2 weeks.
He's actually done a great job over the years of improving. Each year there's some part of his game that gets better and better.
What's the thing you'd like to see him improve on now that turns him from a top 15 player into a top 5, 6, 7 player in a slam contender?
Well, I guess for me that it would be return to serve, and also he's just broken the record with the most aces in the tournament, by the way. A more effective cross-court backhand. So that big serve pays dividends. Sends the overhead out of the stadium. He hits a shovel backhand that he can sort of shovel down the line. You need that shot. He has that one. But if he could get sort of a heavy backhand that opens up the court, cross-court, he'd get more forehands to look at and be able to win a few more of these baseline rallies. Having said that, it has looked better this week, his backhand. He's gotten some roll to it, some topspin, not just sort of that flat shovel.
And we have seen him pull the trigger up the line a couple times. The return has gotten better. The fitness has gotten better. The footwork has gotten better, talking about since he came out of UGA.
Let's start with really the forehand. He had the serve coming out of Georgia. Then the forehand turned into a weapon. Then the movement, the fitness. He could still work a little bit on sticking some volleys. He's got nice drop volleys. Maybe he needs to.
The more he sees how effective that serve and volley is off the kick, maybe it'll become a focus. I know he spent a ton of time with his team improving his core strength to be able to withstand these long rallies that he sometimes finds himself in. Love hold for Almagro. So Isner takes the first, 6-3. They're on serve in the second. Big John getting closer to a title. I smell two things, Jimmy. I smell the barbecue coming over from the members area by the pool, and I smell another John Isner 3-setter.
Well, I'm not smelling the barbecue yet, but I think you could be right on the 3-setter as far as Almagro's stepped up his level slightly to start this second set. And what's interesting to me is that last game, it was a 40-love game, and Isner decided he's thrown in the towel for that point. He had the first serve gone in, he was just walking away. And the second one, he just stepped in and hit as hard as he could. That's a sign that maybe the heat's there for him a little bit, and he's starting to feel effects. So 40 love, don't waste the energy now. Save it for another time. That's something that is tough for him, that he can't play 100% every point. He's got to sort of pick and choose when to try.
Is that, I mean, you never want to see a player tank a point. But is that necessarily a bad play? I mean, I know
it's absolutely a play he should use, but it's a sign that he's feeling a little tired.
So John Isner, after falling behind an early break in the first set, caught a gear and reversed the script. Won at 6-3. On serve now at 1-2 in the second. Was pushed in his last service game to do so. Starts this one love 15. He's looked up 3 times at the sun. This is the ad court tough side, the hardest spot to serve from. Almagro just off on the one-hander. We've talked about the handicap that it causes Almagro to have to fight the angle from Isner with that one hand, but it is a beautiful stroke.
Yes, it's technically fantastic. All the guys on tour with the one-hand backhand, they have pretty backhands. Just a disadvantage. I wouldn't teach. If I had a student who wanted to make it on the tour, I would tend to steer him towards two-hander just because of return to serve, such an important part of the game. And it's tougher for a one-hander. You've got to make a bigger grip change. There's a lot of things involved.
Sam Lopez, Almagro's coach, part of that Ferrero Elite Academy.
Thank you.
Ironically, it was Almagro who ended Juan Carlos Ferrero's career last year in Valencia, the great champion's last pro tournament. Almagro beat him. Now he pays him.
Sometimes travels with him.
That's all.
That's the kind of shot during that rally that Isner needs to do a little more of. He's improving on that stage, but this forehand just unloaded. He's got a legit weapon from that side of the court, obviously.
Also seems as though Almagro is not finding the Isner backhand as much as some of the opponents have done earlier in the tournament.
No,
is that also a function of the one-hander? Harder to hit cross-court than it is up the line?
That shouldn't be the... He should be able to be getting that ball across court. He's not. He's standing so far back, I think, in the rally that it's allowing, and he's hitting it with height.
It's Just overhit by John.
So the two-hander is able to sort of get down through the court a little flatter, gets to the backhand side a little quicker, and all of Almagro's backhands right now have a loop.
Right, but when you have that two-hander, and I don't want to get too technical, when you use that offhand, that left hand for
Yeah,
a right, can you drag it cross court?
Yes, but you should be able to hit it cross court with one hand as well.
You smelled it coming.
Yeah, it was a sitter for Isner, but it was sort of that strange height of not quite an overhead, not quite a forehand volley, and he shanked it. And as soon as he did, you could see Almagro's eyes got big. He knew, this is my opportunity.
Break chance for the Spaniard here. He's had 3, converted 1 back at the beginning of the first set. And a time violation warning for John Isner from chair umpire Damian Steiner. He's been warned on a soft warning earlier in this tournament, but nicked here.
Both players did all they could in that rally. It was a great kick serve, good approach, a nice forehand on the run. And it's a good thing he's 6'10" and not 6'6", or he wouldn't have been able to reach out for that forehand ball.
I don't know what his wingspan is, but he used all of it.
Yeah.
Great hands.
That was sick how good that pickup was.
Advantage Isner.
That would be frustrating. Almagro not showing any signs of being frustrated, but if you're playing a big server, you often don't have many chances to break. This is a game where Almagro feels as though he's obviously in it. He's got 3 points. That's the play.
It is tantalizing when you see John Isner play like this. This is what he gave us top 10 a year ago, and this is what made us think that he's maybe the guy outside of the big 4 that could be a Grand Slam contender.
He's still got to get that return good enough to not have so many tight Grand Slam matches. It's that 3 out of 5 sets that really hurts him.
Well, he certainly has to avoid some of the 5-setters in the early stages of slams. Look where John was standing to hit that serve.
He's given a lot of different looks on return. He sometimes runs around. I like that part of his strategy for Isner. The fact that he doesn't do the same thing over and over to attack second serve. We
mentioned yesterday that all 4 slams last year saw John lose in 5 sets. He had that string across the summer and fall last year where he played 11 straight matches longer than straight sets. He's got to give his body a break.
And he's feeling a little bit right now the effects of this match, maybe the tournament having 3 setters all along, the heat today, because when he gets down 30 love now on Almagro serve, he doesn't. He's ready for the next game to start.
He will pop a squat in the chair for 90 seconds and come back on serve second set. It's pretty. I mean, he's taking his shirt off here, Isner, and he's going to get the ice towel. Pretty tight.
I'm not crazy about sort of a dark blue colored shirt, to tell you the truth, on a hot day.
That's a good point.
Be throwing in the little different color, but he's changing his, looks like his dark blue shirt into another dark blue shirt.
Well, I'm be curious. Is that the color that shirt, that other shirt started out as, and he just sweat through it?
I actually thought about it when I saw him walking on the court, that it's kind of hot right now. I'd be going with a white shirt if I were you, but obviously the company that he's with, a lot of times they dictate what you wear.
You would think they would dictate something that would make it easier on him.
Yeah.
He got dinged yesterday. That company with the alligators had too big of an alligator on his hat, and the chair umpire made him change his hat. Back with you in Houston. John Isner first set 6-3 on serve here in the second. He'll serve 2-3. Shirt change for John, but still with the dark color.
Dark blue to start in a hot, steamy sort of afternoon. I'm not sure that would be the color of choice for me. Seems as though the heat's starting to get to me. Had an ice towel on the changeover as well, so tends to slow him down sometimes. But one thing that Isner does really well is pace himself. He still holds serve even when he's starting to feel tired, and he just decides when to try to break. If he loses the first 2 points, he's not breaking that game.
He's paid a toll here. 3 of his 4 matches up to now have been 3-setters. Jack Sock round 2, Barranquist quarterfinals, Monaco semifinals. Although that Barranquist 3-setter in the quarterfinals was just an hour and 23 minutes. The 3-setter was shorter than the 2-setter that he played in the first round.
Neither player could find a way to lose points on their serve, except when they got broken. The game they got broken, all of a sudden they play a poor service game.
I mean, that's the way John rolls, and it is to his detriment. But this year he's played 19 matches. 9 of them have been longer than straight sets. So 4 or 5 sets at the Slams and Davis Cup and 3 sets in tour play. Efficiency is a word that is important to John, but not something he's found.
Type of game where he holds it love gives him a little better opportunity to use some energy and attempt to break in this game. If he has a long service game, he's finally guts through it. I think he's a little tired for returning.
We showed you that ace before, as you mentioned, breaking the tournament record held by Pete Sampras.
Not anymore.
Yeah, fairly efficient service profile from John here, but not lights out.
This is the game he's looking to break. You can feel it because he held serve at love in the last game. He's got a little energy store. Love 15. He picks and chooses when he starts to get tired which game to try to break. This is the one. And Almagro, who's been holding serve so easily, 40 love every game in this set. Suddenly love 15. He senses Isner's got a little extra energy. That can tighten you up a little bit. That was a poor backhand for Almagro. Another second serve. Isner can choose either to take it early with the backhand or run around. He chose neither of those two and paid the price. Pretty good second serve. He wanted to run around. It just didn't commit to the forehand. That was a pretty good second serve. Short in the box with tremendous angle. I want to remember that love 30-second serve missed return from Isner if he doesn't win this match. That was a critical point in the match.
Much better job finding the Isner backhand and digging himself out of love 30. Almagro holds for 4-3. Opportunity lost by Isner.
Time.
U.S. Clay Court Championships moved to Houston in 2001. Previously, they were held in Atlanta, Charleston, and Kiowa, Orlando, Indianapolis, Charlotte, Birmingham, Pinehurst. Started out here in Houston, the old West Side Tennis Club, and here at River Oaks since '08.
Almagro's starting to show signs of being frustrated. He plays the type of point he thinks should be good enough against Isner. He got that ball deep. He felt as though he's back in the rally after hitting that ball, and Isner said, "You are not back in the rally." With the forehand, he just crushed down the line.
It's that forehand you were talking about, and I mean, would you put it right up there with one of the more lethal forehands when it's on?
I think so. I mean, the only thing he doesn't have with it is the mobility. So, you know, if you can get him moving, he's not going to hit his forehand on the run maybe as well as some of the quicker guys. But just a shot that you want to set it when he's set up and in position, it's right up there near the top of the game.
Saw the serve and volley off the kick first serve even in the deuce court working for John.
He's had trouble kick serving and volleying in the ad for some reason. Getting the kick to kick when he serves and volleys.
We saw him double fault on some of those earlier.
It's almost, it doesn't quite get as much jump to it.
(40-15).
By the way, we mentioned that the tournament's been here at River Oaks since '08. We can tell you, we think it's going to be here for a long time. River Oaks bought the rights to the U.S. Men's Clay Court Championships from the USTA last year, and they have a long-term commitment now. It's still a USTA championship. The winner still gets a gold ball, but it's now owned by the club. Can John Isner be a Grand Slam contender? Can he develop the weapons to be considered one of those elite guys? It's been, boy, how about that when we get to the U.S. Open this summer, it'll have been a decade since an American has won a Grand Slam.
What's amazing to me is Andy Roddick's sort of his whole story. Obviously, he's the last American to have won any Grand Slam. It was the U.S. Open. And you had a feeling when he won that 03 Open that there was going to be 5, 6, 7 more. But unfortunately for him, Roger Federer became Roger Federer right around that same time.
Well, Roger Federer won his first Grand Slam a couple months earlier at Wimbledon that year.
But then 04, he became a different guy. Got to a different level.
Having your career coincide with that guy's would be considered unfortunate.
Yes, and then Nadal came around not too many years later.
Then again, a lot of people, we dwell on what Andy didn't do. There's a lot to dwell on in terms of what he did do. I just feel like casual fans who maybe pay attention to tennis 4 times a year say that kind of stuff about Andy, and then when you consider that he hung around the top 10 for a decade, carried the mantle of American tennis almost completely on his shoulders for that time.
Won titles every year for maybe 12
11,
years.
12 years. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of pressure.
Almagro is a little antsy in this game. For whatever reason, he's frustrated with how well Isner's played, how tough it's been to break. And it's showing in this game. 15-30, Isner's got to recognize it and take advantage.
Almagro's pacing starting to quicken.
Exactly. He's hasn't showed much emotion till this point, but right now he's out of sorts.
Brown started to take a couple steps to guard against the inside out, and Almagro saw it and ripped it up the line.
Pretty good defense just to make Almagro hit one extra shot. But Almagro had plenty of time to wait for Isner to make a move.
Still a big opportunity for all 30.
Second serve, you got to think Isner won't make the same mistake and back up. He's got to hit a forehand.
He hit a pair of them, and they were good, and he's earned himself a break chance.
Now, if you're Almagro here, I know he also has a big serve that he can bring out, but I don't think kick her out wide and look to hit a forehand to the open court's a bad idea for him.
Doesn't do it.
No. Now a little tougher on second serve. He still has a nasty kick, but... Oh, that's a serve that's going to cause some problems for Isner as well. Having said that, he knew it was coming. It was second serve. Take that a little earlier. Cut the angle off when you know it's coming.
Fair amount of steam behind that forehand from Isner, and Almagro was there.
Almagro did what has caused him problems in the match in that he backed up right away in the rally, opened up some of the court, but came up with a great backhand down the line from a pressure point and situation.
Was in trouble, Almagro. Isner had a look at a break chance if he converts these serves for the match. Instead, still on serve.
Almagro leads 5-4.
That could be a tough moment for Isner because he expended a lot of energy trying to, obviously, he was a point away from serving for the title against what was a frustrated Almagro, but he had to, even the last point, he had to do a lot of running, and we'll see if that takes anything out of him for this service game now, having to serve to stay in the second set.
5.
John Isner trying to get this thing done in straight sets, needs to hold serve here to have a chance. First American to reach an ATP World Tour final this year, or in April.
It hasn't been a banner year for the Americans so far, but I think this tournament and the way Isner's playing might turn his year around.
Almagro quite literally almost hit our camera operator. He was so far back when he hit that return. Look, that was after he hit his return.
It felt as though he almost had to curtail his backswing a little bit to hit the ball. And Isner misjudged that return slightly, sort of let him back in the point. That only hit a little bit of the line if it hit it at all. It was mostly wide, but there is a piece that just caught.
Damian Steiner confirms it, 5th ace for Isner, 62nd of the tournament.
30-15.
That's the play I keep calling for, and that time Almagro did a great job.
And Theo.
Again, how do you hit the ball past somebody from that far back? That's impressive. Players today can seem to do that. Isner needs to get in a little bit quicker, cut off that angle.
Almagro, another one of the guys who uses the Luxilon Big Banger strings, and certainly helps him bring it up and down like that.
That serves. At some point, you would think Almagro would try to take one of those early. It's so far over his head, and he's got to somehow generate pace from up there to get it deep. He can't do it.
.43 on the serve, absorbed by Almagro.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's 143 when it's leaving Isner's racket. By the time it gets to Almagro, as far back as he is, it's probably 103. Funny how frustrated you get as a sort of a clay court player when you're playing a guy that serves the way Isner serves. You feel as though if I can just get in the rally at even terms at any time, any shot, well, then I'll win the point. And you can see it's starting to take its toll mentally on Almagro. He's starting to talk to himself.
Yeah,
Yelling at when it gets aced, all of a sudden that's affecting him. It nearly cost him the match in his last service game because he was
5 games old.
Emotionally upset. He sped through that service game and ended up having to save a break point.
That was the rap on Almagro earlier in his career, that emotional to his own detriment.
Let's for service.
He knows it. He's worked on it. He acknowledges it. And he's done a better job of controlling himself and channeling his energy.
That's an example where Almagro is not as nimble as some other clay court players. He's more of a power clay court player because he serves big. He likes to control the points. He's not accustomed to that type of stuff where he's got to slide and chip it back in play and neutralize. That's not his game. He's not a defender. And that makes for a tough matchup for him when he's playing Isner. Again, sort of indifferent speeding through this game again. And this time Isner's got to take advantage.
Love 30, second game in a row on the Almagro serve. Again, he's rushing. Almagro's ready to serve. Isner's barely at the line.
Yeah.
He's going to stop the point, and he won't need to challenge it because Damian Steiner has overruled it. Now Almagro will ask Steiner to get down and check the mark. This is love 40 if the call stands. And it does. Triple break points. If he converts one of them, he serves for the title.
And that's frustrated Almagro.
Run around it.
Tough on this side. Now after seeing the point, yes, he should have run around. The problem is in the ad court, it's an all or nothing proposition. If he runs around, he's got to hit a winner from that position where he will be hitting the return from.
Well, 40, maybe
it's a time as a green light. You're right.
First serve clips the back of the service line, so 2 breakers saved, and now the antenna all the way up for John.
Look at Almagro, and he's actually a big server. And the one chance, a lot of times you play big server, you have break chances. You get a second serve, that's the point you got to take advantage of. Isner wasn't able to. He only got 1 second serve, 2 big serves, and Almagro's at deuce.
Doubles again. It's 4 in the match.
Went for a big second serve that time. He knew that Isner has been running around effectively in the deuce court, so he tried to handcuff him with a bigger second serve instead of doubling. 4th chance. I like the play from Isner, to tell you the truth. He didn't want to be in a long baseline rally. He applied pressure, had a good deep return, got the short ball, but just a good, smart passing shot from Almagro. He didn't do too much with it. He just hit that first one low cross court. It was going to force Isner to come up with a special volley.
Was that mishit?
That was absolutely mishit, but mishit beautifully if you're an Isner fan.
I was looking for sort of the half wave, like I didn't mean to do that, and he didn't give it.
What was funny is he got a wave from Almagro, who threw up his hand in disgust and sort of, that was where the wave came from.
5th break chance for Isner. And he's got it. John Isner converts the 5th break chance of the game. Almagro launches a ball to the parking structure, and Isner will serve for the title.
Isner leads 6 games to 5.
How do you like them apples?
Well, I'm impressed, to tell you the truth, with the distance. I got a good look at the shot that he threw out there. And I cannot believe how far the ball traveled just now.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
I'm right with you.
Give me one ball, please. One ball. One ball. No. From the ones in play.
So John Isner now sitting under an umbrella, legs crossed, contemplating.
Look, here's
four serves.
Here's one thing for Isner that you got to remember is serving for the match against Monaco. He got tight yesterday, and he happens to be serving for the match now into the sun, into the side he hasn't enjoyed serving to. So, you know, at another level of anxiety. Could be a difficult game for him.
Time.
John Isner had a minute and a half to contemplate the stakes here. Hold serve, and he wins the title in Houston.
Thank you.
He's serving from the tough side, sun in his eyes. Girlfriend Maddie urging him on.
He got a little tight serving for the match against Monaco in the semifinal yesterday. Had another layer now that it's the title. It's into the side that he doesn't like, serving into the sun. This will not be a comfortable game for Isner.
Trying to join these three men as active players with a clay court title. He's 4 points away. Betrayed him.
The return just ticked the top of the net, which made it even more difficult. A little add to that the level of anxiety, and all of a sudden it's tough to come up with that half volley drop shot. Isner, when he served it out against Monaco, he did it with 4 big serves. The points he won were serve winners. He's going to have to come up with some serves now. It feels as though he's going to lose the rallies in this game. He was thinking the same thing I was. Crush that serve, but just missed.
Beauty. It's been 15 years since an American beat a Spaniard in a clay court final. Todd Martin in Spain, no less.
Wow. Impressed with Todd Martin. And I'll be impressed with Isner if he can find a way to hold serve here. That was what he needed, a serve like that.
Trying to get it done, Isner, not only against a clay court, or against one of the best in the business. Almagro won 35 clay court matches last year. That was the most in men's tennis, more than Nadal, obviously the injury, more than Ferrer. He's led the tour in clay court match wins 3 of the last 5 years. Ace number 7 brings on championship point for John Isner.
Always calling for him kick, serve, and volley. Forget about it right now. Let's go with 140 ace.
Cue the bomb.
Cue the bomb, exactly. It was there. Just clipped the top of the tape, apparently.
John Isner wins Houston.
Isner struggling in 2013. He's not struggling any longer. He's got a title this year, and it's on clay. And it all came together for John Isner this week in Houston. He's struggled with his confidence, but the last two matches, beating two quality clay court players back-to-back, the confidence will be back now for John Isner. And look out, I love the way he played these last couple of matches. He showed some moxie from the back of the court. He used his serve very intelligently throughout the last two matches. He had to against the two clay courters, and well played from John Isner, his first clay court title of his career.
You called it, Jimmy, before the match. You had a feeling he was going to undo Almagro, a guy who is one of just 4 active players with more than 200 clay court wins, and John Isner undoes him. What a great win for John. His 6th career ATP World Tour title. We'll come back, hear from him, and have the trophy presentation. John Isner wins Houston. Back after this. Jimmy Arias, I said we would see if your clairvoyance came to pass, and it did.
Didn't look good when he was down 3-1 in the first set, to tell you the truth. I thought, oh boy, I made a mistake, especially with the heat factor today. I'm not sure Isner would have been able to win a 3-setter if they had gone 3.
But I'll tell you what, though, your strategy 100% worked. He bought in. I don't know if he'll credit you, but
he definitely won't, because I didn't tell him, but he's figured it out on his own.
Well, the point is, he served 57% for the match, which is extremely low for John Isner. But the point is, if you can win serving 57%, you're winning with your kick serve.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he was lucky that he wasn't serving well, because the kick serve was working for him all match long. It was causing problems. Anytime you play a one-hander for Isner, he needs to think about that and recognize they're going to have trouble with the kick.
John Isner wins Houston 6-3 and 7-5 over Nicholas Almagro. He served only 57% in this match. That's very low for John Isner, which says that he was winning the way you suggested he should win, with his kick serve.
It actually helped him that he didn't serve great today, I suppose, that he did get those kick serves, which is tough for a one-handed backhand to deal with, especially on this clay. The ball was jumping up so high, and it earned him a lot of free points, and in the end it was enough to earn him the title. Having said that, he did serve his way out of trouble in that last game. When he got a little tight from the ground, all of a sudden the big 140 came through.
And he won 60% of the points on his second serve. Great effort by John Isner. Let's go down courtside for the presentation. Wayne Bryan's there.
River Oaks, what a great week at tennis. What a sensational, spectacular final we've had today by 2 great athletes. Let me give it over right now to your tournament chairman, Mr. Mike Chadwick. Everybody, Mike.
Thank you, Wayne. I certainly echo what you say. What a fantastic match today between 2 incredible competitors. I think we saw John Isner's own version of shock and awe right there. It was just unbelievable. But 2 great competitors, Nico and John, congratulations. I'd now like to ask 2 fellows that helped me with the awards at this point in time. Helping me on the runner-up side is Dan Moody, president of River Oaks Country Club. Would you present the runner-up trophy, please, to Nico?
Nicholas, we loved having you in Houston this week. Bad luck today, but you've had a great week of tennis.
Yeah, it was a good week. Of course, I want to congratulate John because I think he played really good today. Well, I enjoyed a lot that week, and we'll see what happens in the future. And I'm very happy with with everything with the tournament, I wanna say thank you to everybody that who make possible that tournament, and well, thanks to everybody to come to see the tournament, and hope to see you next year.
Great champion.
Thank you, Nico. And now, assisting with the championship award to John Isner is Mr. Christopher Seraphim, Vice Chairman of Fayez Seraphim and Company. 22 years of sponsorship support for this tournament. What a great supporter. But please present to John our finalist award, championship award.
Congratulations, John, and thank you everybody for coming. What a great tournament this year, and we look forward to doing it again next year.
Thank you, Christopher. John, you're down a break early. You're playing a terrific all-time great clay court player, and you turned it around. You had to play your best tennis to win today.
I certainly did. This whole tournament, I felt like I got stronger each and every match, and I'm very happy with how I played in the finals. In order to beat a guy like Nicolas, you know, on clay, I needed to play very well, and that's what I did. Congratulations to you for making the finals. He's a fantastic player, a fantastic competitor. It's the first time I've beaten him, and it's a special one, but it was a pleasure to share the court with you. And actually, there's a good chance I'm going to be sitting right beside him on a plane to Monte Carlo tonight. So I'll see you there. I want to thank the sponsors, Fayez and Seraphim. You guys are fantastic. I want to especially thank Van Barry. In my opinion, he's the greatest tournament director there is. He's the man responsible for putting together such a strong field. I think this is the strongest field this tournament has ever seen, and I hope you guys enjoyed the tennis all week. The weather pretty much cooperated, and you fans were fantastic as well. I want to thank you all, and I'm very, very happy, obviously, today. And a couple more. My girlfriend, Maddie, up there, and I travel with a chiropractor, Clint Cordial. In my opinion, he's the absolute best around. He's a jack of all trades. He keeps me healthy, and I certainly wouldn't be here without him, so thank you, Clint. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the Flores family for putting up with me again for a second straight year. They, I made the finals last year, and they said I had one more chance, and if I didn't win it this year, I couldn't stay with them next year. So I think I can get that invite back next year, so big thanks to you guys. Appreciate it.
Once again, everybody, our two finalists. What a match. Nicolas Almagro and John Isner.
One of the charming parts of this tournament is that it's a big-time ATP World Tour event, and he stays with a local family on the grounds of the club. It's really nice.
Staying in housing, you don't see that any time during the year other than here at River Oaks. And obviously, Isner enjoys staying there. He's lost once, final and win. And it's true. A lot of times, housing tell you, you better win if you want to stay with me. I've had them tell me that before as well. So a little extra pressure.
I suspect a plaque going up outside the guest bedroom door. This will be the John Isner bedroom going forward. So John Isner hoists a trophy for just the 6th time in his career. He'll turn 28 in a couple of weeks, and as you heard him mention, he and Nico will be hopping a plane to Monte Carlo. The draw is already out for that Masters 1000 event. John's going to play Ernest Gulbis in the first round probably in about 48 hours. We'll see Almagro against David Goffin, the young Belgian, as the European clay court season gets underway.
Not easy for these guys after really giving a lot of energy and effort today, but we'll see. They got a day to get back and get ready. Great day for John Isner.
And let me ask you, Jimmy, as we hit the road here in Houston, do you think that we just witnessed the turning point as John Isner will now begin to climb back to the top of the game?
I think he might, yeah. I think he's going to have some confidence. I can't say yes for sure, but I believe in him now after the way he played.
John Isner recapturing some of the glory that we saw from him on the surface a year ago. Looked awfully good against two of the elite clay court players on the planet, back-to-back Monaco and Almagro. John Isner, the champion in Houston, for Jimmy Arias and our entire crew. I'm Brett Havers. So long from Texas.